to cover Mains 365 on the topic social issues. This become very important for GS1, and also we can use the cues in the GS4 ethics paper and some parts of GS2. First, let us introduce ourselves with the index. It is very important that we go through the various headings before diving into the complete topic. So, we are going to study about Indian society, the decolonizing the Indian mind, then cultural appropriation, tier 2 influencers redefining cultural capital in Indian digital India, then cancel culture, then social isolation, then rise in middle class vulnerability, AI, which is a very hot topic and can come in any of the GS in any of the way. This becomes a very hot topic. Then marriages again, with the rising divorce rates and complications, and the societal point of view, it has always been a debatable topic. Then social organizations at a glance, then some keywords, then practice questions, then women, which we can also use for essay, then women-led development, global gender gap 2025, dowry with the recent cases, and manosphere, violence against women at a glance, beti bachao beti padhao, women at workplace at a glance, women in STEM, women in armed forces, menstrual health, and then keywords. Now, the first topic is decolonizing the Indian mind. Why is it in news? I'll give you 1 minute. Just take cues from your everyday life and try to address the question here, that how and why we need the decolonization from the Indian minds. Time's up. Due to the rising Western influence and the drawbacks that comes attached to it, and the rising nationalism or patriotism, there is a need for decolonizing our Indian mindset. Now, why in news? The PM urges 10-year national pledge to shed colonial mindset. Now, this you can use in conclusion also, that as said by the PM, that there is urge that we need to take a 10-year pledge to shed the colonial mindset, which was rooted in us by whom? The British, of course. The Macaulay's legacy. Please comment down what was written in the Macaulay minutes. Then, now, what are the key aspects of colonial mindset? First, they have engraved in us that we are inferior and they are superior. The Macaulay's policy broke India's self-confidence and instilled a sense of inferiority, that we still feel that West people are someone we always need to look up to, or we want to become like that, but that is not the case. They did it via marginalizing. They created supreme forces within the same homogeneous group, which instilled insecurities and made us feel inferior. Example is foreign academia, corporate standards, policy designs, etc. Then, second was the language, which was the main criteria, with is still pretty much relevant. That is the use of English in courts, universities. It isn't seen as aspirational, and sometimes it is really sad, but English has become the topmost priority. Otherwise, somewhere you will lag behind in your life, and sometimes hindering the access. It hinders the access. It hampers the preamble value of societal equality. Then, example, our very own CGI D.Y. Chandrachud stated that English language in its legal avatar is not comprehensible to 99.9% of the citizens. Then third is culture. Imposition of Western cultural elements, that is in the dresses, the food, the art forms, the manners and values, that we have lost our own very culture. Even in the dresses, we want to follow the Western culture. We want to follow the type of material which is suitable to their climate for our own tropical climate. Our food, our daily eating habits and choices, then our art forms. We are so fascinated by the Western music that we are losing our own roots. Then mannerism, then the values, the project that we feel that they are superior. Then fourth is colonial era laws and institutions that were rooted in establishing control rather than decentralizing it. Fifth is imported economic systems, overemphasis on private capital that led to impoverishment of large section of population, which is far away from the idea of welfare state. Then knowledge systems. We have lost our indigenous knowledge systems. Example, Ayurveda, which we are trying to revive now. Then yoga. Then comes social differences. Example, caste stereotypes. The rising caste stereotypes, neo-casteisms. Example, like there is increase in the caste songs, the caste reels, the caste echo chambers. Then cultural movements to tackle colonial mindset. Arya Samaj, 1875. It tackled the colonial mindset. What did it say? Swami Dayanand Saraswati's slogan, "Back to the Vedas," which aimed that we need to go back to our own cultural roots. We need to purify Hinduism, which got very much influenced by the Western culture. Then Ramakrishna Mission, then Swadeshi movement, then Bengal School of Art, as we know the Abhinandannath Tagore, his paintings, the Mughal and Pahadi art, then national historiography. Then what did we do post independence to remove the colonial vestiges? That is, we repealed the old colonial laws which became obsolete, such as IPCC, IPC. We revamped their name also. Then NEP, the three language formula, which is also a debated issue in itself. Then symbolic and nomenclature changes, as we have seen the change in the names and the change in the symbol of the Indian Navy also. Then revival and institutionalization of traditional knowledges. Then new naval ensign. Yeah, I was talking about this only. Then budgetary changes, like we separated the budget during the colonial times, then now we merged it again in 2017. Now what's the way forward? See, these are the keywords that are going to fetch you marks. I think you should make one diary about such keywords which you can use across your GS papers. Then Panch Panch Pran Pledge, which includes a resolve of developed India by 2047. Then, removing any trace of colonial mindset, cognitive decolonization, which is very important, which we need to start from the elementary education itself. Then behavioral shift and economic shift. Behavioral shift will also start from the family, from our peers. Then economic shift, we need to move to more self-reliant ways. Then cultural revival, we need to go back to our own music, our dance, our own traditional medicine systems, and we need to take pride in our own heritage, the cultural heritage. We need to start to promote it at our own peer level. Then restoring pride and heritage with responsibility. Conclusion: true decolonization demands a fundamental reimagining, this is the key word, of how India thinks, learns, and governs. By reclaiming, we need to reclaim our indigenous knowledge, languages, and cultural pride. While embracing, we need to also embrace our constitutional values. Thank you.